Ladies and gentlemen, your hosts, Michael Wilkes, Angel Ortiz, Dr. Chad, and Sam La Cavera. Go check out beardedbrowns.com and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Enjoy the show.
What is up, everybody?
Yo,
What
yo.
is up? We are live this wonderful Tuesday evening at 7:30, like we always are every week. We have a wonderful guest on. He does not build pyramids, but he builds triangles that shakes up the way we evaluate NFL talent, from rookies to veterans to contracts to coaches' decisions. His motto touches it all. Creator of the FV Triangle in the 2025 season preview, which is out now, by the way. One of the sharpest minds in the game. Let's welcome to our show in the Cleveland Ketchup Cam, brought to you by Cleveland Ketchup. Let's give it up for Damon Wolfe. He's in the building, folks. Let's give it up. Welcome, Damon. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. When I reached
Absolutely.
out to you and you responded, I was pretty excited because I saw the Dogs podcast. I saw you on there, and then I saw the 2025 preview. As I was talking in the beginning, someone who is dyslexic and has a busy mind, it was a perfect read for me because all the colorful and it's straight to the point, straightforward information. I thought, man, I got to try to get this guy on. So thanks for actually responding. I thought I was going to get ghosted. I was like, oh, try it. Let me shoot my shot. And you responded. I'm like, sweet, he's going to come on.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate you reaching out and showing love. I'm happy that you got your copy of the season preview, and really happy to support the show.
Yeah, we're going to get to that preview too. But first question we want to ask you is can you take us through your background? I heard that you have a scouting analytic background. Can you take us through all that, from start to beginning to when you started to right now?
So yeah, it's not really much of a analytics background per se. I would more so say that I fell in love with football as a kid and have always loved the game and followed it very, very closely. I played a little bit in high school, but never got to play in college or at the pro level. But I always stayed plugged into the game. And like I said, followed it very closely. And, early in my life, I was, an entrepreneur and tried a lot of different business ventures, some successful, some not. I studied a lot of performance and leadership stuff, all at the same time, while, technology as well, all at the same time while being in love with the game of football. So, eventually I started doing some stuff on Twitter in regard to the draft about 7 or 8 years ago, really following the draft closely and, putting out scouting reports on players and stuff like that. So that's kind of where it all started from. Kind of created a product called Draft Stacks that just launched this past year. And, have always just really loved evaluating players. So that's kind of, I've never worked for an NFL team or anything like that. But I started writing about the Browns in 2022 and got into the media space a little bit and got to experience that. So that was a great experience. And it's just kind of grown from there.
So you say you evaluate draft talent, and can you speak a little bit about this year's draft talent for the Cleveland Browns, whether you liked it, loved it, or were okay with it?
I actually loved it. So the Browns actually drafted 6 of my top 90 players on the board, the exception being Dylan Gabriel. But overall, I think the Browns did very well in the draft with the players that they selected. I mean, you could argue a little bit with the value of taking 2 running backs in the same draft class and 2 quarterbacks. But overall, with the amount of talent that they got from my top 100, it's hard to argue with the results, especially when you compound on top of that they parlayed the number 2 pick into the number 5 and first round pick next year from Jacksonville. So that made it just a total slam dunk and home run, in my opinion. And I really think the Browns have a rookie class that is going to impact things on the football field for the next few years.
Yeah, I agree. At least that's the hope. We got to see what the situation with him and when he's going to come back, which might impact things going, the first 5-6 games. But hopefully he can come back and make the impact that we think he can have.
Yeah, that was the only thing that, the unfortunate legal situation right now is the only thing that really put a damper on that trade overall. But I think as far as the process goes and the talent that they ended up with, I think it was really good for the Browns.
Yeah, let's get into the your 2025 preview here, the FV Triangle. About the FV Triangle, how have you decided to impact for each category?
It was a lot of trial and error as far as to how much to impact things. And I will say this, this is the first iteration of it for this season heading into the year. And I do plan to have updates quarterly after every 4 weeks of the NFL season. I'm playing around with the idea of adding like a heat map feature to it. So each layer will have things that negatively impact or positively impact each layer during each week of the season, and create a visual to be able to show that and display that information a little bit as the season wears on. But, I'm always going to be looking for the best quality inputs that I can enter into it with the structured data as far as that goes. And it's kind of a hybrid model because we do take the quantitative inputs that are publicly available in a lot of places. And then I also put on and add my subjective analysis on top of it.
Okay, nice. All right, Chad, you want to ask a question, or you guys? I don't want to hog up the mic.
No, I'm good. I was just gonna chime in on that same question though. Basically, so did you sort of start creating this and then shift the model based on things you were seeing from teams in the NFL?
No, that's a good question. So basically, the idea came about like 3 years ago. And so it started out as kind of like a sketch in my notebook. And as I said earlier, I have an entrepreneurial background. And one of the things I learned in a former place was a framework to evaluate businesses. And it was kind of a similar, triangle format. And so I thought, why can't we do the same thing with NFL teams? And then it was kind of a process of deciding, okay, well, if we're going to do this for an NFL team, what things are important? What things are going to could help us project an outlook for a team and take a snapshot of where they are today, and also, point us to where they're going over the next couple of years. So, it's always kind of been, not every rebuild is doomed from the start. And, not every 10-win team is built to last. And I think we've seen that over the time in the NFL, so I would rather, try to find like I said, I have a little bit of a scouting background. So I was looking for something to help me kind of forecast where teams are at and where they're headed.
Yeah, so here's
nice. My question real quick. I find all that very interesting. And when you break stuff down like that and you look at so pretty much you're breaking every number down, you're making your graphs. I looked at I really like how your graph layouts are. They're very easy to read. So I'm an off-topic guy. So how's your fantasy football team? You got to have a good. You play fantasy football. You got to have fantasy football.
You know what, man? I honestly haven't played fantasy in like 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I for a loop. I said this guy.
Yeah.
He probably wins probably because you won them all. Nobody wanted to play with you no more. They're like, you know what? You're winning every year, man. We're gonna have to let him go.
I wish that was the case. But no, I did previously enjoy it. Now I'm much more into like parlays and that kind of stuff.
No, that's all good. That's all good.
But yeah, I definitely enjoy the fantasy community and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, so your triangle set up with the roster, coaching staff, and front office as the three sides, side and the bottom. And in the middle, you have quarterback scheme, player experience, performance, development, analytics, salary cap, scouting, and leadership. Is the middle the way it's per percentage, right? In the middle? Oh, yeah. So I see on the side.
So when you look at it, I wanted it to be, visually, structurally sound. So triangles all have 3 equal sides. So with the roster, coaching staff, and front office grading, each of those sides account for 15% of the overall grade, which total to 45% of the overall franchise valuation score of each team. And then internally, you have the foundation of the triangle, all from leadership all the way up to the quarterback situation. And each of those is, weighted according to their level in the triangle. So leadership would be the most, quarterback would be the least as on the internal evaluation. And a lot of people will ask, well, that doesn't kind of make sense because quarterback is so important. But in my model here, it's basically the quarterback is a multiplier layer because quarterback is very heavily scored into the overall roster score.
Okay. And then you have your overall scores on the bottom from elite, contender, mid to rebuild below. And when you get the preview, each team will have a color coded elite, contender, mid, or rebuild that you have. And I think it's very interesting. We're going to get into here in a second of how you have Cleveland ranked, but
sure.
And it's even more interesting as somebody who sees the division, and you think, man, we're the worst division people in this division, and then you look at your analytic or your view of it, and then you see that we're not as bad as we think we are. I think we just had a bad year last year. Would you agree with that? And that kind of like taints people's view of us.
Yeah, for sure. I think, definitely last year I consider 2024 more of an anomaly for the Browns. They were obviously trying to make a bad situation work with this Deshaun Watson and him coming off his shoulder surgery, and we all know how that turned out. I think that the level of talent is, still there from the 2023 squad that went to the playoffs. And I'm not by any chance saying that, I'm not here trying to blow smoke about the Browns. I think that there are certainly holes and areas of the roster that you can certainly question. But I do think overall they're well positioned, for the future. Especially, I see this year as a pivotal, as more of a pivot for them. And based on the incoming draft talent that we talked about, along with the future draft capital that they acquired and what they're heading into with next year for the draft, I think they're going to be in a really good position moving forward.
Yeah, so that's going to lead us into the Cleveland Browns score that you have posted. If you want to pull that up, producer Mike, you have them ranked 63.8, which is considered mid. Mid right now. So I guess I want to ask you, for the fans that don't believe you, but as a podcast, I don't know if I can speak for, I think I can speak for Chad, but when I see this, I understand what you're saying, because I feel the same way. I feel the same way about the organization. I feel the same way about the coach. I feel the same way about the players that were currently picked the last 2.5 years. So when I saw this, I was encouraged that I wasn't going crazy. that I thought, man, we're on a good trajectory. We just need to get a certain position correct.
Yes.
So if you can go through like how you get your score and how we're projected to possibly win 12 games in a couple of years, excite us Browns fans.
Okay. So first of all, they scored a 63.8. That's out of 100. So they also ranked 17th out of 32 teams.
Yep.
And they were 5th out of 16 teams in the mid-tier overall. So, they're kind of middle of the pack right now is what I would say with the organization overall, with what I'm projecting as a upward trajectory over the next 3 years. I think that having first round picks again are really going to do wonders for the team and organization overall. That was something that they've had to battle over the past 3 years, and missing out on all the draft picks that they gave up to Houston to acquire Deshaun Watson, and then to have very little production out of that quarterback position has really hurt them over the past couple of seasons. Despite that, Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, while they are not flawless, they certainly have, certainly established a level of competence within the organization and around the league, both as a head coach and a general manager. So that's a lot. That's what's really driving a lot of the scoring along with the talent that they do have on the roster. When you look at Myles Garrett being the best defensive player in the entire league right now, and that's projected to stay that way for the next couple of years for sure. You look at the defensive line as a whole, they have, in my opinion, a top 5 defensive line unit group right now with a lot of depth and young talent like Mason Graham and also Mike Hall, who I believe will have a huge impact here in the near future on the football field for Cleveland. There are certainly things to be excited about. I also, like I said, I like the draft. When you talk about the quarterback position, I think that, nothing is solved as of yet. However, I am encouraged. I've had Shedeur Sanders as my 27th player overall. Like a lot of people did, I was never for drafting him number 2 overall, but I did feel that once he got into the late first round, I was advocating to pick him as early as pick number 33. So, and that's based on my film study and evaluation. I know that there are a lot of things out there, rumors about what kind of took place. And my whole thing is I don't understand how, Shedeur apparently bombed the interview process for 32 NFL teams ahead of the draft. But since coming to Cleveland, he's done nothing but say all the right things and have the right attitude to find success. So I just, I can't go off of that stuff because I wasn't in those meetings. I don't know. I wasn't there when they presented him with stuff on the whiteboard and all of that kind of information. But I do think that on the football field, he is talented. He's not a perfect prospect. He doesn't have some of the elite traits that you would like, but some of the greats don't. You look at quarterbacks in the past like Joe Montana or even Joe Burrow today, elite processing skills, very accurate and able to put the football exactly where they want it to go. And I think Shedeur has some of that stuff. He played behind a terrible offensive line at Colorado and with absolutely no running game. And there are clearly some things that he needs to work on, as all NFL rookie quarterbacks do. And I think they're going through that process right now. But I mean, honestly, when I sit and look and see what I see coming out of training camp from clips every day and what I saw up there on Monday, I see a guy who's confident and, can get rid of the football and is looking to get rid of the football down the field. He's not just looking to, just check it down at the first sign of pressure. I do think he's holding on to the ball a little bit too long. I think that Right now, his clock is still adjusting to NFL speed, and that that defensive line is as advertised. They did not give him a lot of time to throw. Nope. They were on him pretty quick. So I think that, as he gets some more reps under his belt, things are going to continue to look better. It's just a question of whether or not it gets to the point where, he can provide them, if he can stabilize the position and play this year, especially over the back stretch, to question whether or not the team should entertain drafting one in the first round of next year, which at this point, I think everybody has to expect the Browns are, very serious about doing.
Yeah. So to echo what you just said, Chad would ask me, Angel, what do you think of camp? Because I went Thursday. Okay. And I recorded. I tried my best to be like a Browns breakdown and film breakdown and record my stuff. But I saw the same thing you did, and I said, man, he's progressing better than I thought he would, but he is still holding on to the ball too long. But at the same time, I thought to myself, man, he is going against a top 5 defense, so I can't. And I think overall, like, we have to view it from that perspective. Like, he's got some more things to learn, and I think more reps for him would just be better for him to get more reps. And I think that's where a lot of the fan base gets frustrated, because they see these throws that he's making that is pretty, layering the passes and stuff like that, and then they say, why is he only doing this against four stringers? But yeah, I saw the same exact thing you did. He's holding our ball too long, and his processing is still not there, and you can see why they're kind of just moving him along nice and slow. And I think they're doing him right by that.
Yeah, for sure. I think a big emphasis right now too is taking snaps under center, and the mechanics and the footwork behind that. They were really working on that with him during his first team period yesterday on 11-on-11. It was clear. I think all of his snaps at that point were from under center. So that's still a work in progress. I am encouraged by what I've seen so far, and I think he'll, get more comfortable with all of that as time goes on. So that, and just, running the whole operation of the offense the way that Kevin and Tommy Reese want him to, getting the play into the huddle, moving guys around at the line of scrimmage, and, checking in the right plays, all that kind of stuff. The pre-snap diagnosis is really what I feel that they're probably, wanting him to progress on the most at this moment.
So when you were there today, did you see a lot of pre-snap motion with him?
There were a couple instances, but I wouldn't say it was, it's not anything I noticed that was like super heavy. I did see encouraging signs overall in that regard with the, even when Flacco was out there, saw a little bit of motion at the snap, which I think is really important and can help the offense this year.
Yeah, I saw a little. He did maybe 5 plays where he did little motion where he told the receiver to come over, but I did see Dylan handle that a lot more. He had a lot more opportunity to call motion and to kind of like tell players where to go. So I think when people would ask me, like, what is my view of between Shedeur and Dylan, I would say I think Dylan is a little ahead because of that. And I think that's why they're kind of like allowing Dylan to do more as opposed to Shedeur.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from all reports, Gabriel was, probably the most, the smartest as far as all that stuff goes, from, understanding the game. He's played a lot of football at the college level, at a high level. So his understanding of the game and, what the coaches want from him in that regard, I think was absolutely the thing that the Browns were most attracted to in him during the pre-draft process. And I think ultimately, if I was being, completely honest about it, I feel that, once they decided to trade out of the number 2 pick and pass on Travis Hunter, and they decided that 2026 was going to be the year, I feel like they knew at that point that Tennessee was taking Cam Ward. Cam Ward, I think, would have been the pick for the Browns if somehow he could have got to number 2. and they would have been happy to select him as their potential franchise quarterback. And they decided to wait until 2026. And, you know, in the meantime, they were going to take somebody that Kevin liked, that Kevin's comfortable with, and Gabriel is probably that guy, in hopes that he could get a year head start in the system and learn and become a long-term backup and a guy that can be around during the length of his rookie contract, and really be kind of a player coach in that room for the rookie quarterback in 2026 as well. And, you know, once the decision happened to, you know, trade up and take Shador, I mean, that certainly changed things a little bit. And it was an opportunity the Browns couldn't pass up. And it's just another swing at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
And I think we should all be happy that they decided to take that swing and be encouraged by that. And we'll see what happens this year.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Actually,
go ahead.
Just to pause, like, I'm so glad you described that in that way, because I feel like most of us kind of have come up to an agreement of, it's an odd breakdown. People were baffled on the Browns taking two quarterbacks. They were baffled on why the first one was Dylan Gabriel. Not really that much that he was before Shador, but that, you know, where he was taken or why they even took him. And I think sometimes when you look at what's happening in these situations with a team, it's not as overcomplicated as we try to make it seem. It seems very clear from the picking up of Kenny Pickett to what decision they made at the time they pick up Joe Flacco to why they brought Dylan Gabriel into the room. And I think what you just said is about exactly how I've looked at it, to the point where it's like, well, let's give this shot with Pickett with another chance. We still don't know what we're going to do in the draft. To, okay, it's looking very clear Cam Ward is going here and we don't identify somebody at 2. So we better bring in Joe Flacco because we need to fill this room, and we'll take a later round rookie, which ended up being Gabriel, a potential like long-term backup with some upside if his height doesn't become a problem. And then exactly what you said, like falling to the point where they're like, well, I mean, we almost could have taken Shador at this point. So like, if he's still going to be there, I guess we'd rather have 2 quarterbacks than like any skill position at this point in the draft. And it seems so simple when you say it. And then when I say it, the amount of fans out there that like are completely still baffled at how this could have happened just cracks me up. And so I'm glad that there's somebody out there from a totally different view from our show that just described exactly what I think happened to the pick.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it and summarize the way you just did there. And I think that's exactly what happened. And I think the Joe Flacco signing, you know, a week before the draft is, you know, definitely part of that.
Yeah, my thing, I said, well, for when Shador, to get him where he was at, it was almost a no-brainer. And it was real simple for me, because it wasn't like, why did you just take 2 quarterbacks? My mind already went, well, we have a quarterback problem. So maybe if we add another quarterback, maybe we find a diamond in that rough somewhere. And as late as he went, why would you not take him?
Yeah.
You know, you got a quarterback problem, get another quarterback. You got a running back problem, you might want to get 2. Good thing we picked up 2 running backs.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny, you know, I probably about a month after the draft or so, after being able to digest it all, I wrote an article, and part of it was kind of like, you know, maybe the Browns finally solved their quarterback problem with their plan B, not their plan A.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was kind of the thought process behind it.
I mean, that isn't that the best case scenario? Like, I just feel like I'm with you that as soon as they traded out of pick 2, I was like, well, they're not trading out of pick 2 to 5 if they think they were going to take a quarterback. So they're not taking a first round one, which means they're probably not taking a second round one because they haven't identified a lock worth a pick that high. And I think exactly what you just said. Like, I think their intent was, to me, if we don't see this guy this year, the best thing to do is trade back a few spots where we still think we can get a blue chip talent, but also gives us even more, you know, revenue to try to get someone next year. And if by chance somebody in the room is so good that they don't need to do that, like, that is just
amazing,
an incredible blessing. So, you know, I think that's the way we have to view it. It's like, if they don't work out. Like they're still very potential backups and future developmental guys. But if they do, well, then aren't we looking just incredible going into next year, being able to use those 2 top picks on some sort of skill position talent?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the challenge for, Shador, if he, I think it would take a season similar to what Jaden Daniels had last year, or a season like Baker had his rookie year here in Cleveland, in order for the Browns to dismiss taking a quarterback, in the first round next year. However, I do think if he can play well enough to just make him question it, an option for Cleveland that they possibly could pursue, and I would totally not be surprised if they do, is that they just take one of those 26 first-round picks and parlay it into 2027 and do the same thing and trade one of those picks for 2 first-round picks, for one later in 2026 for a team that wants to come up, and then have a second first-round pick in 2027. And of course, we all know what quarterback is expected to be in that class.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah. If you talk to 90% of Browns fans, he's definitely going to be in this class. So
yeah. He's definitely coming in this class.
Yeah, Browns fans are never patient.
No, because they want it. Yeah, they want it now. A couple more questions. One thing I loved about this preview too is that you have your FV bottom 5 and your FB top 5, and unfortunately the Browns fall on the bottom of 4 out of 5, but the one that they're a top on is analytics. Yes. Now, me and Chad love analytics. We love numbers, and I want to ask you, is that a good thing that they're number 1 in analytics? Because a lot of fans seem to push back on that, like, too many numbers, whatever. But what is your view on them being number 1 is analytics? I think they have the biggest analytic team in the NFL, correct? I think they have like 12.
Oh, well, yeah. As far as the staff numbers that are reported, reportedly out there, Seth Walter from ESPN does a good job of putting stuff out. He gets a little bit of information from the teams on hires that they make and the amount of staff that they have and resources and stuff like that teams invest. And it's clear that the Browns, obviously led by Paul DePodesta, have assembled the number 1 analytics departments in the league. Now, I do think it's a fair question to ask, well, how valuable is that, and how worthwhile is it? And I think it's definitely valuable. I just think that what happens sometimes with analytics, it can cause you to it could kind of cause you to get out in front of your skis a little bit too much, too often. And you want to try new things. And I think you have to kind of resist the temptation to do that sometimes. But however, I do think that there is going to be a point in time where the Browns gain more of a competitive advantage from the analytics department. And every year you just kind of have to think about it, that they're layering on more valuable data from the things that they're doing and trying. And I think that eventually it can pay off. There's a lot of other teams that are performing very well with analytics, the Eagles being one.
Eagles, yeah.
Baltimore Ravens also being there as well. But, as far as the actual staff and the resources that they're putting into it and the implementation of the analytics, the Browns are far and above everybody in the league.
At least we're good at something, right? As of right now.
Right.
Yeah, that's a little encouragement for you, Browns fans. At least we're number 1 in analytics, like, even though some of them we don't like it. My next question,
I'd rather not.
Yeah.
Right.
Next question I have for you is, what has been the biggest pushback or misunderstanding you've gotten about your method of the triangle?
That's probably a good question. I think the biggest thing is that we kind of already talked about it, was the quarterback being the top internal layer. I think that most people see that and they're like, well, that should probably be weighted heavier. But, once I explain, well, it's heavily weighted into the overall roster, that kind of, typically will clear things up. So, but yeah, that's probably the thing that people, ask about or question the most.
Okay. That was going to be my question. I know we came on, and I immediately, I think it's because you point out quarterback specifically that you gravitate to like quarterback 2%. I'm just a believer that you put Joe Burrow, one of the quarterbacks you consider the top, Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes. You put that person on this team with this roster, I believe you're immediately talking about, can you beat the Ravens in this division, and are you going to make a playoff run? And so I'm thinking like 2%. But to hear that it's weighted in along the side of the triangle and like an extra chunk there, makes me feel way better, because I do think that position like carries a team's roster a lot. It's what allows the rest of the offense to shine, and even some of the defense, because you give them rest and balance. So
yeah, it's absolutely everything. And you mentioned Joe Burrow there. There's no quarterback in the league that makes up for more flaws on their team than Joe Burrow does for the Bengals. So, it's very interesting. And, that quarterback layer is not just, I think a lot of people would just assume that we're looking at just the quarterback, the starting quarterback for each team. But we also so for each layer in the triangle, there's anywhere from a half dozen to a dozen different inputs of ratings or actual information that we put into the each quantitative area, and things like rating the backup quarterback, the starting quarterback, who's in the meeting rooms with the quarterbacks, do they have a good track record of developing and working with quarterbacks? So it's more so the overall quarterback, the quarterback situation of each team that we score in that layer.
Okay. Sam, do you have any other questions, sir? Nope.
No, I'm just soaking it all in, man. I'm hearing about quantum physics and stuff like that, and I know Quantum Leap. I know I know a show, Quantum Leap.
That was a good show. That was one of my favorite shows growing up, man.
Say Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
These guys
I love it.
are the analytic guys.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
I just sit back and I'm like, I don't know, man. Let's see what happens on Sunday. Let's see what they're doing on Sunday. We'll go from there. That's just me.
No doubt. You can certainly nerd out on all this stuff. And I don't want it to be that, I think people will naturally, assume or label me the analytics guy, and I'm okay with that. But, I'm more of evaluating what happens on the field, like what you said. And I just hope that this could be a way for people to kind of look at the bigger overall picture of where a team is and try to get a sense for their own team of where they're going.
All right, one more last question, Dave, before we let you go. So you have your projections for every team in this preview, which I'll be honest with you, if you don't just be a Browns fan. I get this. I mean, I'm an NFL. We watch NFL. Like, I watch football, just the Browns as a whole, and you can just see just his projections, his predictions from here to 2027 for each team. I'm not overhyping it because he's on the show. I'm telling you, this is a very good read and a lot of good information for you to have. My last question to you is there any, let's just use the Browns, for instance, is there any situation that will allow or where you adjust any predictions accordingly? Let's say hypothetically, if they find a quarterback, whether in Shador or Dylan this year, that proves that he can be like you said, Jaden Daniels. So will you come back next year with a different outlook 2 to 3 years from now? It's like more wins next year as opposed to what you have now.
Oh yeah. So this model is going to be updated in depth every preseason. So we'll have a new projection for every preseason, and we'll learn and see what we got right and what we can work on and improve. And I definitely want to provide a little bit of context and updates throughout the season. For instance, events happen all the time to teams that really impact their future, not just like next week or this season, but for instance, that week 2 in 2023, when Nick Chubb went down in Pittsburgh.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
What you think about that event and what that event did to the Cleveland Browns and their trajectory over the next 3 years. That was a huge impact. So I want to have something visually during the season that people can see that, like kind of like a trending up or down kind of for each layer for each team. And so kind of give you a little bit of a sense of what might happen when the next actual scores come out.
Yeah. So follow him in motion on X. I was gonna call it Twitter again. He's a good follow. I follow him. I'm pretty sure the podcast follows him. Before we let you go, I'm going to give you, it's called the Cleveland Catch-Up Snapshot. We're going to give you a second to promote your social medias and whatever you need to plug before we let you go. By that way, we can get people to this beautiful, I'm telling you, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful set of pages. You can print it out. Hey, do you have a book form too?
Yeah, you can order the printed.
I might have to go.
Well.
I might have to go back and get the printed copy because this thing is just amazing to look at. It really is. It's a good thing. So, is there anything you need to plug? I'll give you your moment.
Sure, I appreciate that, Angel. Well, so yeah, you can find all our work at inmotion.football, and then you can follow me on X at NFL in Motion, and we have a franchise mode Brown specific season preview that's going to be dropping Friday before kickoff of the first preseason game against Carolina. This will be a very Brown specific season preview. We're going to go deep dive into like positional groups. We've got the FB triangle scoring data in there as well and all of that stuff. So you guys can go download that once it's available from the website for free. So we're putting that out for all Browns fans.
Free, guys. It's free.
Awesome.
There's nothing wrong with free. And especially in this world today, you get something like that where you can have your favorite team's information in front of your hands. I recommend it. Not just your team, but the team you're going up against next week. You can have all that information right in your hands. You can sound smart. So you can start a podcast just like us, and you can just regurgitate whatever he has on that paper, and then you're good to go. Again, thank you, Damon, for coming on. If there's anything in the future you would like to promote, just please reach out to us. We'll have you on at any time.
Cool. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Anytime.
Hey,
Thanks for being on, man.
No problem. Mm-hmm.
Peace. Yeah, man.
I'm with it.
I sent you guys that. It's a beautiful. If you haven't looked at those pages, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I get lost in the colors. It's like
To me, I like seeing anyone take the time and depth to look at stuff like that, because I think way too many fans are just listening to the immediate stuff they hear on a day-to-day basis from Browns media or other Browns fans who are just post a lot or loud. But I just don't understand how anybody can not have some confidence in somebody who's going to put so much time into something like that. And so I'm sure just like anybody else, you could still get some things wrong, but like, at least, it's not just a random throw together.
You can tell he puts his time into that, and that's just not Browns. That's every team in the NFL, every 32 teams, and he's analyzing everything from the top down. Inside, outside, coaching, everything. I mean, I'm actually wanting to get the book. I like something tangible I can go flip through. So
I think the PDF I've offered 15. I think the book is 25. But I'm with you. I might go get that book too. It's really cool.
Be cool to look at. That's why you even say when you're, for the season coming up and the work that he's put into the book that's already out. When we're playing, when we're playing the Packers, when we got the Vikings and the Steelers that week, it'd be good to look and see what he had said about them going into the season and stuff. Your adversary.
Yeah, he said he's even going to update all that weekly. So that's something to watch. That's cool. Why you should watch him on X. Follow him on X. So by the way, you can get that updated stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, because there are impactful things. Like you think the Browns, you probably could have had a grade a certain time, and then you see Deshaun Watson like go down with an injury, or you see Baker's arm fall off in the middle of the Texas game, and like now like not only this year is that changed, but like get ready, because when next year's guide comes out, the whole trajectory of sometimes multiple years is going to change. But I like the way he covers things. I like looking at football from a picture of, he simplifies it. He makes it easy to read. He makes it pretty easy to understand, but just the layers show the complexity of what it is to have a successful football team. And I just think as much as fans are aware of that, it's easy to ignore and think it all comes down to this coach, or it all comes down to this, player, and it's much more involved. And when you look at that triangle and you look at these different other ratings he has, it really brings to light. Yeah, every one of these pieces is how you win a ring. It's not like you can win years in a row, but how you win a ring is you hit on all of these pieces, or at least most of them.
Yeah, if you get that book, you could see how he has Philly rated, and you can see. And I'm telling you, and I know this might seem extreme, like Andrew Barry and Kevin are and the organization is trying to mirror themselves after Philly. Like whatever they do there,
that's exactly what they're doing.
Cleveland's trying to do here. So you can just see it like visually. I'm a visual learner, so when I saw it, I'm like, man, this is great, and I'm glad he came on. But let's move on. We got a show to talk about. There's some news that dropped.
Right.
But before we move on,
stuff.
Yeah, before we move on, let's talk about our new sponsor, Bearded Bastards Barbecue, baby. Yes, they just started with us this past Monday. Bearded Bastards Barbecue. Go to their website, use our promo code Bearded, the number 15 at checkout, and you get 10% off your order. All orders over $25 ship free. Mike just received some samples. He's going to let us know next week how they taste. For those asking about Mike, his internet is slow. He cannot log on because if Mike logs on, he's slowing the show down. And we do not allow people to slow this show down. So Mike took it for the team. He's like, I'll produce, you guys talk. So that's Mike's in the background.
I was going to blame a groin strain. So I feel like you took a much better
yeah, he pulled his groin. He pulled his groin at work.
I jumped out of it.
All right.
I jumped out of the tow truck a little too quick, man.
He popped in.
Hey, you're slowing down the show, pal.
Dude, you're slowing this down, bro. Like, what are you
doing? Guys, listen. When you live in a country, things happen.
Huh? No, just fine.
Okay.
In the country.
Yeah, I live in the country.
The guy goes to a suburb, and now all of a sudden he's in deep West Virginia.
Listen to country music. He moves 20 minutes in the woods, and all of a sudden
he's in Alabama. He's in the deep.
Oh, see, it's already messing up, right?
As soon as you pull in this driveway, you hear it. As soon as you pull in this driveway, you hear banjos playing. Like, where are we at? What's going on here?
I got to back out of here because it's already.
Slowing this down. All right, so let's get into the little bit of the show. All right, so Shedeur is starting Friday night against the Carolina Panthers, and fans are excited about it. I'm excited about it. I think everyone should be excited about it because he finally will get some first-team reps. You're going to go against the first-team defense against Carolina. How long, we don't know, but the coach came out saying the first team is going to play for some time. So we get to see Shedeur move. We get to see what he does in his moment. Is he going to shine? Probably. Is he going to be good? Maybe. We'll find out. But overall, what is you guys' view of Shedeur starting week 1 of your preseason? Well, game 1, preseason 1. Chad.
Yeah. So I literally just found this out as we were like logging in today. I was busy work day. I kept up with no Browns news, which sucks for a show day, by the way. I love to catch everything I can on a Tuesday. So I have 2 thoughts on it. Number 1, like there shouldn't be anyone who's not excited or happy about this, because if you love the kid and whether you're just like happy with the way he's progressing, or you're like dying for him to be out there, or if you're bitching that like there's some conspiracy holding him back, no matter what your take was, if you love him, you're definitely excited to see him. If you hate him, you've got to be really excited to see him today, unless you're scared like he might actually show some success. But they're locally within like Cleveland and surrounding and nationally, this news, people will probably be ecstatic. This makes this all of a sudden a game that people will probably watch, even if they have nothing to do with the Browns and they're like me, they hate the preseason. This is now must-watch football. And on the other side of that, it does feel a little bit weird that it's based on the fact that Flacco's 40, Pickett is not taking live reps, Dylan is not taking live reps. So, like, you know, it does feel a little bit non-genuine, but I'm just going to tell everybody, I do not care. It doesn't matter. It's what we talk about all the time. Like, this is not how he was supposed to get his start or his shot or his giant chunk of reps. It happened, and let's see what he can do with it and where he can grow from there. And then, by the way, for everybody that was bombarding me, and I was like, I have no idea on why we would bother to sign Snoop Huntley. Now it seems very obvious why you would sign another quarterback when you have 5 on the roster, because 4 of them cannot play football this week. So, okay.
Makes sense. Sam?
That was my thing. I'm glad he finally gets to get his reps in, because one, it'll kind of calm some of the fans down, because they've been waiting and they've been wanting, and things happen for reasons. You know, like we said, we got Gabriel out with a hamstring. We got Pickett with a hamstring right now, so that opens the door for him. And like I kind of piggyback to when we were talking earlier with Damon. He's been saying to me, when I hear him talk, he's been saying all the right things. He comes early, he leaves late for practice. So let's give the kid his due, man. I'm glad that he gets an opportunity to go ahead and get these reps in. And let's see how he does. Now, I'm not going to watch him. If he plays bad, I'm not going to judge him on that game. If he plays really great and blows the doors off, I'm not going to be like, it's one game, guys, it's preseason, but let's let him get these reps in so we can see how some of these rookies are. Unfortunately, I wanted to see a little bit of everybody, but we can't get that right now. So like Chad said, it's kind of why we brought Snoop Huntley in here, because we, unfortunately, Browns fans, I seen Huntley come up, and I'm like, you're going to need that, because I mean, we're fighting to get quarterbacks in for these preseason games already, folks. You know what I mean? We got to have roster spots. So
really quick, guys. Hopefully, I have enough internet.
I'm good with it. I want to see what he does.
I'm hoping I have enough internet for this, but ClevelandKetchup.com, guys. Their bacon and bourbon sauce is amazing. Check them out. Use our code Bearded for 10% off. Also, our newest sponsor, the Bearded Bastards barbecue sauce. This has Dr. Pepper in it. Who does not like Dr. Pepper?
Me.
Come on. Honey.
I just ruined it. If I see me. And honey.
Honey, I'm home. A Verde sauce. Verde. I'm sorry. But yeah, anyways.
I can only shake my head at the fact that you don't know that word.
I know.
Hey, we're not Mexican, man.
Hey, calm down, California.
I'm Latin.
It's verde sauce for your quesadilla.
Calm down.
Calm down. You're about to get canceled, Mike.
Quesadilla.
Cleveland Ketchup has not only ketchup, it is mustard, mayonnaise, and potato chips as well, guys. Check them out, and be sure to check out the Bearded Bastards. We're bearded. Sam might be the only bastard here, but we're here.
So I'm hoping
my whole life.
Black sheep
my
hope for
God, a whole life.
What I would like to see Shador do is play under center this game. I would like to see him do a little play action, and I would like to see him possibly shift the motion a little bit. That's what I like to see. I'm not asking for a lot. I don't. You hear Damon say, like, he's got some stuff to learn. I'll tell you, at camp, when I saw, a lot of people are not saying it, he is still holding the ball a little too long. Now, maybe it's because he's against 4 teamers and those receivers aren't as talented as one, so that might change. But I think I'm excited, man. I really am. I'm like, man, he's going to get his opportunity. Hopefully he shines.
To play a lot, right?
Yeah, he should play a half.
At least, because there's
or 3 quarters and let Huntley play it last. Yeah,
Huntley's just got here, so it's like I'm sure he can step right in because he's been around, but like we're probably going to get a pretty good dose of Sanders this game, and I think there's nothing really there's not really a huge downside to that, except for I would have liked to see a little of everybody. I'm with everybody else.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I would have liked to, but we'll see it. Hopefully, that Philly game, some of these guys are back, and If not, man, Pickett's not back. It's going to be tight for him to even think that, you're going to be starting. That Philadelphia game is going to be pretty important. We're going to continue with the quarterback talk. This news just dropped while we were in our pre-show talk. Mike Silver reported, after trading up to take Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, the Browns rejected multiple offers for Dillon Gabriel, preferring to move forward with both rookies. This report is very crucial for those that think no one wanted Dillon Gabriel other than the Browns. So if you thought Dillon Gabriel was going to be there in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, you're wrong. Because multiple teams thought, hey, you guys are picking Shedeur. We'll take Dillon off your hands. But the Browns said, nah, I'm good. So when I read that to Chad, and Chad was like, and I didn't get to read it to you, but what is your when you hear that, what do you guys think? That the fact that teams wanted Dillon, not Shedeur, they wanted Dillon in a trade.
Well, then they must have seen something they liked. Obviously, that's an obvious thing to start at. Just like when the Browns, when they actually did pick him up, because I kind of shook my head. I'm like, that wasn't on my radar. But hey, them guys are smarter than me. There's people that are smarter than me. There's reasons why. Yeah. And obviously, like you said, there's other teams that were already looking at him before Shedeur. So that says a lot that they seen something. I mean, I looked at, the only thing I could think of for Gabriel is because he played a lot more college games than Shedeur did. So maybe he would already have that advantage going into a NFL team and a training camp. I think that's one of the ups that he would have. And as far as reading plays and doing as such, because he played, I had a number on it. I can't find it, but it was 200 and some odd games he's played or something crazy. And Shedeur didn't even play half of that. So I think that might have been something that the NFL teams were looking at and going, hey, this guy does have a lot of play, and he might be something that we can build with and work with and build him up. Yeah. So
Chad, it's your turn. I'm going to open up the floor to you about anything you need to say about the quarterback. Okay. You have just context. Chad is over our X account, so he sees a lot more than I do. So go ahead.
Yeah. So 2 things. First, on a totally off topic, if you're making comments, probably stick around, because right as we end the show, I think it would be worth scrolling up and hitting a few of these. We often take breaks in the show to hit them.
Yeah.
But because we had Damon in. Yeah. Because we had Damon in, and because Mike, who's producing, is kind of in the background, I would say stick around. There's a handful of these are probably worth at least touching for 30 seconds at a time.
Yeah, I saw some.
On the Dillon thing, 2 things. So first of all, I think this specific topic that you talked about is the biggest indicator of something that we've kind of been saying all along, and it's that the external and the media coverage, and even to some degree the scouting coverage, covers players from their like physical standpoint and their game film, and there's just so much more to that evaluation than that. And so I think hearing that teams reached out for Dillon at the time that they picked Shedeur should be eye-opening to everybody, because there's a giant narrative out there that if the Browns didn't take Dillon, nobody was taking him. And I will take the argument that they took him early, because I think most people had him graded 4th or 5th round kind of prospect. So yeah, when people say like they drafted him early, yeah, that's probably true to the context of earlier than when he was ranked. But they took him earlier, fearing that this is our guy. We want him in the room for a long time, and someone else could nab him if we don't take him now at around pick 100, because they didn't pick him again for like 30 more picks. And they said, so somebody in that next 30 could take him. I also laugh because I think if they didn't take him, good chance they could have taken Dylan Sampson, in which case he could have been their pick at 124, and we end up with the same 2 players, but nobody's bitching about it. But anyway, so on that note, I think everybody should take a lesson from that, that now that it's confirmed other teams were interested, the Browns were not outsmarting themselves. Sure, they could have went a little bit early, but people clearly saw something in him. So let's not pretend this was an undrafted free agent that the Browns did something super crazy for, and in this scenario. And then outside of this exact topic that people were going to draft him, I have been going on and on with people on X this week, and it's the most frustrating thing ever. And I've said it in the past about other things on the team, but I think it's come to like the biggest divide ever. How do we get to the point where fans of this team just start rooting for their players to succeed instead of rooting against them because they either want someone else to succeed or because they didn't like the pick or they've made comments earlier? And this doesn't just run to Dylan, although the past week, that's been the overwhelming sentiment. Weird how Kenny Pickett pulls his hamstring and is out for a week. And now everyone in the fan base has a giant problem with Dylan Gabriel because he's not Shedeur Sanders, because he's not 6'3", because he's not pick 130 when they think that's where he belongs. And I get it if you said, well, I just thought he was an early pick and I'm just like continuing that thought. That's fine. Like, that's totally fine to think that's not my guy. I don't believe in him. But at what point did we go from being like, well, I don't think this is going to work, but here's the hoping, to I hate this kid. I hope he bombs. I hope he goes out in preseason and gets rocked so I can see, Flacco play instead. Like, I just think this fan base as a whole needs to get out of the I'm going to pick my guy and I'm going to like completely be anti every other person and just come to the realization that if Dylan is good, whether he's a starter or a backup, that's good for us. If Shedeur turns out to be good, whether he's a starter or a backup, that's good for us. If Pickett ends up being good this preseason, whether he's a starter or the backup, that's good for us. Whether we're still going to draft a quarterback next year, all of those things are still good for us. So let's just relax, calm down.
It's
go
insane.
Back to rooting for our team instead of rooting against players on our team that we didn't believe in or had a question about drafting.
I came in just to put my real quick input in. Sorry, guys, my internet's kind of crappy right now, but nobody's against Shedeur on this team. Everybody wants to find a winning quarterback for this team, whether it be Shedeur, whether it be Dylan Gabriel, whether it be that Baltimore Ravens guy. Well, both Baltimore Ravens guys, I guess, right? At this point. Everybody wants a winning quarterback on this team. I hope you guys can hear me all right. Next week, be prepared, everybody. We have Eric Metcalf on. I'm going to leave this show right now because I don't want my internet to go into another funk. But Eric Metcalf on, everybody. Next week, go Browns.
He's just popping in doing announcements.
I had to pop in with my I had to pop in.
He's like, let me pop in, do a ketchup commercial. Pop in, do an Eric Metcalf commercial. This commercial is brought to you by Bearded Bastard.
Now the Cleveland Browns have 6 quarterbacks. The Cleveland Browns have 6 quarterbacks, guys.
Yeah, 6.
We
have any one of those 6 can play, right?
So yes. We're going to have to figure this out. Next week, I'll have my microphone back. I better have my microphone back next week. Because if not, I'm going down to Connecticut and Elyria. Sam's going to join me. And we're going to do some stuff.
All right.
Internet back. Cameo by Mike. Yes, absolutely.
Make internet great
We'll
again.
make it right.
Yes. Everybody, this is me running off my, what do you call that? A hotspot right now on my laptop. So until everything gets fixed, just like the Browns, come on, guys. It's inevitable.
Yes. I'm trying to read some of these comments. So yeah,
Damon Wolfe just told us the Cleveland Browns by 2027 will be an elite team again.
Well, he said win the AFC North, so that's elite. Yeah. So hopefully, yeah. Again.
All right, guys. Until next week. Love you guys. I'm gonna go back to producing.
Love you, bro.
Just love how he pops it. He's like, hey guys, I got news for you. We need to have him do that every week. He's like, hey,
by the way, no prompt, not even like a quick message like, hey guys, I'm gonna pop in and say
he's a it's just him coming in. Mike popping in, dropping dimes on
barbecue sauce.
Yep.
All right, guys. So let's hit up some of these questions. They're coming in pretty good tonight. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the comments. Share it. So I'm so lost right now after Mike just popped in. I had some comments brought up. Let's start with this one.
Real quick, I said something earlier because I said something earlier and I looked back at my notes. I just said it. I said Gabriel played way more games. I did spit out a 200. I was being way ridiculous with it, but he did play 14 more games than Sanders in college. Gabriel 6 seasons and Sanders with 4 seasons. With 4 seasons. Yeah. Right. So
it's also worth
he had
mentioning
more playing time. It's
also worth mentioning he played in the Big Ten and the SEC.
200 games at. I'm down.
Yeah. Also, too, that's a good point. He did play in the Big Ten and SEC, which is a little tougher competition. Then was it Pac-12 they are now? I can't understand. I don't know. They switched so much.
Yeah, I was gonna say they used to be Mountain West. I think now they're Pac.
Okay, so let's talk about this one. It says, I guarantee teams are second guessing passing over Shedeur and made offers to the Browns for Shedeur. We don't know that. Possibly, yes. But here's the good news. If there was an offer, one thing we do know, the Browns did not take it. Why? Because they like Sanders. He's still on the team.
and I'll just say this. If they believe in him and they actually think he's worth what they were hoping to get when they snuck up and stole him from everybody in the 5th round, why would they trade him right now? He's going to be more valuable after 1 week of August than he is right now. So if they do think he's tradable, they're going to get him out in preseason this year and probably next year. Let him light it up a little bit and let a team give them a real offer for him.
There you go. Here's another one.
Sure.
This is good showcase for Shedeur. If he plays well, then they can trade him and build around Gabriel. No. If he plays well,
they're going to build around Gabriel, but I do think they are going. I do think Gabriel was always anticipated to be a long-term piece, and Shedeur may or may not be a long-term piece for them, but he could be a similar long-term piece for somebody.
Or he could have.
Yeah,
that's what 11.
Oh no.
Okay.
Who is this guy?
I probably can't see most of these as they're scrolling up, but there was some good ones earlier. I think mostly due to
I can hit a couple. I remember a couple.
Go ahead.
So, Ian commented on Dylan and basically brought up the Darrell Ryder point that they parade Dylan around like a 1st-round pick, and he's being evaluated as such. And I do not think that's the case at all.
No,
I think if they thought he was a 1st-round pick, they would have picked him with one of those 2 picks in the 30s. And I think the reason he's getting the reps he's getting is because he understands how to run the offense, even if he's not executing to the point we want. But he understands from the whiteboard, the defense, and the play calling, and he runs the offense. And that's why he's getting some of the reps that Shedeur's not getting yet. It doesn't mean something won't click for him. And the fact that Darrell said, now I have to evaluate him by that. First of all, Darrell, I don't trust you can evaluate a quarterback in the first place. So dial it back with that. And 2, you don't have to evaluate him like anything. It's the first week of August. Watch him play his reps. You know that 2 people have been taking them this week, and Flacco clearly doesn't need so many of them. In fact, he's 40. He probably shouldn't have so many. So they have to go to Dylan.
Okay. Don said Gabriel. It just disappeared. Keep it up. And Mike, if you could click on it, keep it up long enough for me to read. There it is. Gabriel, to me, can be a Colt McCoy type long-term backup. I don't see him as a quality starter. That is a solid take. Because Colt McCoy was a solid backup. He had a good, long NFL career. That's worst case. Best case, he could be an NFL starter, right?
Actually, and I think he started. I think they picked him later than Colt McCoy was picked.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm almost sure of it.
Yeah, because the Browns picked him. That's probably why.
Just so everybody's aware, Dan Eifert is the bearded bastards guy.
Oh, shout out. Thanks for the
so you better answer
sponsor.
his questions.
Yeah, I'm trying to, but you're clicking longer than I am.
I'm sorry.
No,
We'll
you're
have
good.
it again until next time. Bye.
Bye. If Deshaun, okay. No, we're not talking about that quarterback. All right, here we go. Yeah, I saw the Ian comment. I'm trying to scroll through these guys. Be patient.
I seen. I think James Frank asked if there was any updates on Quinshawn Junkins.
Nothing.
And as of right now, he just remains unsigned, and his team is due to the domestic violence in Florida. So he's still just kind of in the backdrop, man. We haven't heard nothing new on him. So it's all the legality things that have to transpire before we know. So I'm sure there's
pretty disappointing.
Yes, it is, man.
There
it really is, man.
That's
because I don't even really want to get into it. I wanted to see him and Sampson tear it up right at the beginning of the season. I wanted to see how they would work together. So.
And can I make an additional point? This is just my belief. I'm not getting this from anybody in the Browns. The reason that Quinshawn Judkins, because he's eligible for camp, if he was going to go on the commissioner's exempt list, which was exactly what will happen if this isn't resolved, and he doesn't have a suspension of 6 games, he would go on the exempt list during training camp, much like when Deshaun was getting ready to get his suspension. He could be practicing. It's because of Deshaun and the problems the team dealt with him.
Yeah,
I fully believe is the reason that Quinshawn is not there, because they cannot put themselves in a position to take that firestorm again. So unfortunately, he could be eligible to practice while he gets this figured out, resolved, while the legal process turns through. But the Browns have decided they're not going to go that direction because it's already been too much. So it's a bummer, but
yeah.
I want to touch real quick, man. I can't wait for Friday preseason's game, man. Like I said, I actually want to see. I want to see Shador. I want to see him throw I want to see that little to get down in the red zone and see him hit Hero Fannin Jr. on one. Let me see some of that. Let's go. Gage Larvadan. I want to see some of them guys and these guys still trying to make a team. Floria. I want to see what these little slot receivers get around the field.
Thursday when I went to practice, Floria got smashed. He got hit hard up the middle too. He caught the ball, but he still got hit. I was like, dang. He took a couple plays. Yeah, he took a couple plays off though.
Yeah, and let me hit this. Larverdan's been tearing it up too, man. So them two guys to me seem like they're really competing right now. So
Newsom said, "I guarantee that teams are second." Oh man, that's not the one I wanted. This is the one I wanted. Where'd it go? Oh my goodness, this keeps on moving. Agreed, chat. Oh, I just missed it for some reason. It moved off it. No, it moved again. Sorry, guys. I'll look for it again. But yeah, I agree. I'm excited to see those. Specifically these receivers play, because you're going to need depth there. You're going to see who makes it, who doesn't make it, who can make it. I mean, it's fun. It's going to be fun to watch. You think this is going to be the highest viewed preseason game ever in NFL history? Because
I don't know, but if it came out, if it came out that it was, it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't either.
Yeah. They already got commercials. Everybody's like, yeah, preseason Browns game. Let's do it.
There it is. Okay. This says this is no, my gosh, why does it keep on switching?
Are you having so much trouble?
I think I'm trying to click it and Mike's trying to click something too. Basically this guy, Newsom is saying that they know Gabriel sucks. That's why they want Shador. That's why he's playing. I went. They didn't know Gabriel sucked. Then they didn't know they didn't know Dylan sucked. Then they didn't know Dylan sucked. Then they don't want Gabriel. No. Same people. Now they want Sanders. Shador. Listen, Dylan had a horrible week last week in training camp. I went to that Thursday game. It was horrible. He was like 4 for 11-ish. I'm going to tell you right now, what they should also count is drop passes. Okay, because there was maybe 3 to 4 drop passes that were in receivers' hands that were dropped. Obviously, that kind of skews those numbers a little bit for Dylan. Not making excuses for him. He did not look comfortable Thursday for some reason, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because he's going against the first team defense with Myles Garrett. He's going against Newsom. He's going against the other guy, the best corner in the league, Ward, right? So he's going against this defense that is quick and fast. You heard Damon said, yeah, that defense makes it tough on those quarterbacks in training camp. And it has. It has made it really tough and situational. Let's bring up the situational calls. I just going to sound like Shador hate. And for the record, the podcast will notice I told them before the draft that they should get Shador because I think Shador could fit Kevin's system perfectly. I want both quarterbacks on this team. But I'm telling you, the play calling for Dylan as opposed to Shador are different when they're there. The defense is different than it is, and when Dylan's on the field, than compared to Shador. It just is. Not taken away from Shador. What Shador has done with the opportunities he's getting, the limited opportunities, is great. But to dump on Dylan as if he's a garbage quarterback is wrong unless you know what scheme they're running, unless you know the situations they're running. Even Kevin said it himself. We're not looking at completed passes. We're looking at if they can read the defense and if they're hitting the target where they need a target, when you need to hit. That's what Kevin said. And that's what I think they're looking for. So when we're looking at this quarterback tracker that ESPN Cleveland made up, let's look at it from that angle. Let's not look at it from, hey, look, he has a 75 completion percentage. Because if we're going with that, all you guys are crying for Flacco, and he has a 56% completion percentage. So it doesn't make sense to me. So let's stop crapping on I want live game reps. I've been cautiously optimistic about any of these quarterbacks. Why? Because I said I'm going to wait till preseason. I'm going to see some live game reps. That's why I'm excited for Shador to play, because I want to see how he is with a different defense coming down his throat, where he doesn't know what plays is going to be called. If he's going to dissect it, he's going to switch out at different things. So let's calm down with the Dylan hate. I know it sounds like we're Dylan lovers, but we're more like a balanced podcast of let's love everyone because it benefits our team.
Yeah, I think most of us had Shador Sanders graded higher than Dylan.
Yeah, we thought the Browns were going to pick him at 2.
And at that third pick, like so at that third round pick at 94, I was watching the draft live and I was like, Sanders is still on the board. It would be pretty crazy with people wanting us to have taken him at pick 2 and then of course later at pick trading in the first round or at pick 33, 36. Be pretty crazy if they waited this all out and they picked him at 94. And like, so it's like, I've said very often, the best thing that could happen for this team is Shador Sanders just blows everyone away. It just would be such a positive thing for this team, but it's just like to discount Kenny Pickett or Gabriel as even like not even worthy to be out there competing because of that. Like that's bothersome to me.
I agree. So. And yes, I'll bring this up real quick. Dylan, one of Dylan's bad plays Dylan did, I posted. It was a wide open receiver in the corner, end zone. It was an end zone play, wide open. Guy was open for days. Dylan hesitated, and then ran out of the pocket. Yes, I posted that. Shows you that I'm very unbiased about quarterbacks if I'm posting, because if I wanted to be pro Dylan, I would not have posted that. And we're going to address the elephant in the room here. Ian says, LMAO. So Dylan runs a special playbook, and the whole team changed to suit Dylan. So Kenny Pickett's running a different playbook too. Come on, Angel. Love you, but you're full of cow do. I didn't say different playbooks. I say the defense gives them different looks. It's the same play, but the defense is giving them different looks. You're going to tell me a 4th-string guy is going to know as much as a 1st-string guy when it comes to the playbook? No, you're not. If you're a guy that's 4th-string, they're not going to put as much on you as they do Newsome, as they already do Ward, who already knows the system. So Dylan is going to be more uncomfortable because you have Alex Wright and Myles Garrett rushing after you, as opposed to, not to dump on anybody, Joe Schmo and whoever on the other side. It's just facts. If a guy comes off, if I'm rushing Shador Sanders, he's not going to fear me, and I wouldn't fear me. I'm just a bald man with a beard trying to chase you. But if Myles Garrett is chasing you, you're gonna second guess yourself. That's all I'm saying. And How he's so no. Shador is not inaccurate. Shador is very accurate. We've never said that Shador misses. Both quarterbacks, and that's the benefit of it, is they're accurate. And the reason why Dylan is inaccurate is because he's getting his head. I'm telling you, they're giving
like
him
a receiver.
more.
He's just like a rookie receiver he's just like he's not Jamar Chase. I friggin' wish. He's just like Jamar Chase at Bengals rookie camp his first year, when all of the news was he's constantly dropping passes and people were like, why? He's so talented. He has no history of this. And it came down to later, he was thinking about too much. He was in his head. He was trying to be perfect. He was just overwhelmed by getting started with the NFL process. And then once he got it, we've been watching him catch passes and wishing he was dropping them for years. Like, he's just overwhelmed with how much they're asking him to do. And they're not doing that with Shador. And maybe it's because, they just came in at slightly different levels on the board. So even though he's not succeeding at all of these plays, Dylan is able to go out there and run the play. And remember, they're not just looking at what Dylan can do. They're looking at the offensive line. Are the tight ends doing their assignment? Are all of the running backs doing their assignment? And you have to be able to call, generate, read the defense, and run the play for the other 10 guys out there to get that rep in practice to be worth something. And so some of it might just be that.
Yeah, it's Ian. It's simple. And Damon was on. He said the same thing. There are things that Dylan is better at than Shador right now. It doesn't mean by the end of the season, Dylan's going to be better than Shador overall. It may be the opposite way around. Dylan's better with his footwork. Dylan's better with that play action. Dylan's better in this area, whatever area. Shador is struggling. He even said in his press conference when they said, hey, why isn't your dad here? He said, I don't want my dad here. There's still things I'm trying to get to so I can make him proud. I don't want him here seeing the reps that I'm doing right now, because he knows there's a lot for him to learn. And I'm not saying different playbooks. I said there's different plays. What I mean by different plays is they're going to have more of a rush as opposed to, hey, let off a little bit for Shador because he's still learning. Let him process quick. Let him process the play as opposed to, hey, we're going to put more on Dylan. By that way, we can see how fast he can process his play. Not different playbooks, different plays.
And for the fourth time in this podcast,
I'm curious to see.
We are in the first week of August.
Curious.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Chill out.
We play football in 30 days. We play a game in 30 days.
I wonder if Deion's going to go check the game out, though. I know he didn't really.
In Carolina.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to be down there to check them out. Because I kind of liked what the kid said. He goes, like you touched on it, Angel. I was listening to it. And the kid says all the right things. He does. Okay. I don't know if he's got people behind him. He might that say, here, these are the right things to say. But if he doesn't, he's saying all the right things. And if he does have people saying that for him or whoever, he's saying everything right. He's doing things right. Like I said, everybody shows he's the first one there, last one to leave. Sponge. He wants to sponge. He wants to learn. He wants to make himself for himself, but also he wants to make his dad proud. But he wants to get to that level. He's willing to do that. Well, when you guys want a guy like that on the team, I know I would like a guy. I would
100%.
I do roofing. I tear off roofs. That ain't fun. I got some hard dudes that I work with. And if a dude wants to work that hard and be about it, let's do it together. Let's tear it up. Let's go. So I can't wait to see what he does, man. I want to see how he develops.
I'm so excited to see him play Friday. I don't even have any live TV package right now. And I'm not a preseason guy. I'm like Chad, like preseason's preseason, but I'm like, I might just get in that Hulu Live account and just hit that live option and pay $900 to watch this game, because I want to see Shador play. But yeah,
I thought this was the Browns preseason game that was actually national or on NFL Network, whatever it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would
double check because one of them was, and I thought it was this one. But again, so Ian, too many comments from Ian, because honestly, Ian's the exact person I was talking about before, who's like, I'm mad at Dylan, so I'm just gonna
poop on him.
Talking about us dancing around. You literally say something and he changes the comment to what he needs to say to make it sound like make some point that Dylan sucks. It's just yeah, this happens. And he's like, oh, so you're saying this? And it's like, no, nobody said that. You're saying I'm saying that because you're just trying to come up with reasons to like bitch about Dylan. And it's the weirdest thing. Like we aren't making excuses for Dylan. We aren't over rooting for Dylan compared. Like your biggest guy is clearly Pickett Angel.
Yeah.
Sam's biggest guy is clearly Flacco. Like my expectations are all over the place. Like nobody on this podcast. I was big on Dylan in the draft process because I thought Dylan could get drafted as this long-term backup who like maybe never becomes a star but could stick around a team for a while. I definitely thought 4th, 5th round. So I'm even skeptical of the pick. Yeah, and now Mike is Team Shador, who, by the way, was absolutely anti-Shador before the draft, but then like I was like, well, we got him. He's the upside guy. So like, you get in this hole of like arguing for Dylan because everybody's arguing against him when that's not even your like main guy. You're just sort of have to do that because everybody else is so anti. And like if everybody else
you need to
being so contrary about him, then you wouldn't have to do that. But
yeah, and here's the good news. We're gonna see it. If not this week against Philly, we're going to see how hopefully his hamstring's good. We're going to see him. If not, it's definitely by preseason 3. We're going to see both of them play because there should be a starter name. It's not going to be the rookies. It's either going to be Flacco, Pickett, and by game 3, both of them are going to be balling out. We're going to see who's better, who's worse, and we're going to complain about, and we're going to defend the guy regardless of who we love. But this podcast, we're going to be fair. We're going to be as unbiased as possible. Even if Pickett doesn't make the team, I'll come on and say, you know what? I'm not going to cry about it. I'm going to sit there and say, all right, Joe Flacco, next man up. Let's win some games. Don't throw too many picks. You know what I'm saying?
And it's exciting for this preseason game, too, because there's other guys that I want to see. I want to see Dylan Sampson. I want to see Harold Fannin. I want to see Schwetzinger, as I call him, Schwarzenegger. I want to see him. I want to see him, what he's doing. I'm heard he's having a hell of a training camp.
That's actually who I think I want to see the most, Sam.
I want
Schwetzinger.
Yeah. Yes, sir, man. I would get goosebumps talking about it.
I want to see Mason
get out there.
I want to see Mason,
and Mason out there. Let's see what's up with them new guys on the D, man. So it's exciting, man.
Gage is going to be out there. That's your boy, Sam. Gage, he's definitely going to be out there.
I even like Floria. I want to see our Browns out there trying to get the best that they can get out of these guys and put them on this roster. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Well, with that,
I wait to our boy Ralph Holley.
Yeah, I was going to say it, actually. Yeah, Ralph Holley.
Yeah.
He'll be out there.
Shout out to Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph. I want to see Ralph out there doing the Wreck-It Ralph stuff, man. That's what I can't wait to see Ralph too.
I'm going to try doing this like last 5 minutes of the show, guys. Hopefully it works out well, but
5 minutes.
I know I sound like crap.
No, you're good. You don't sound too bad. You don't sound too bad. Real quick, one more sponsor shout out, beardgains.com. Go to beardgains.com. Use our promo code Bearded Browns Podcast for 10% off your order. If you need a nice looking beard like mine, Sam's, and Mike's there because Chad shaded off because, he's got responsibilities. He can't use a beard in his responsibility time. But use our code beardedbrownspodcast.com and you receive that off. And you support the show. It's a great cause. It's a win-win for everybody. All right, go ahead, Mike.
I just want to say that, guys, this was a great show without me. So maybe I'll just sit back in the background and produce from now on. No.
That's too easy. You got to have your big face out here, bro. We got to have your opinions. I need it. We all need it. We need it.
I wanted to get my opinion so bad, especially when Damon was on. I was like, man, how do I – I didn't want to interrupt the show and I didn't want to have, faulty connection again because that seems to be the problem. My wife works from home. She got kicked off of work 5 times today. So we're trying to figure out the scenario on how to fix this. And I am, yes, everybody says I'm making a cameo. A cameo to my own show. Awesome.
Wife coming here. That's my wife giving me the it used to be hey eyes. Now it's like bedtime eyes. No. Sorry.
She came over and grabbed your hand. Don't make any more babies, dude.
No, we're not making any more. I'm good with that. My Arlo is teething right now, so the teething stage. I totally forgot how miserable babies are during that process. It's horrible. One more thing before we let you go. Hanford Dixon autograph signing is happening at Tuscarora at Shenanigans, 704 East Avenue in Dover, Ohio. That the Tuscarora's Browns backers are putting it on. Hanford Dixon's going to be there. $20 per autograph. All the donations are going to go toward the Tuscarawas County Humane Society. Help a dog, help a cat, help a bird, whatever they have there, whatever animals they have there. It's going to go help them out. Is he?
As a dog.
Sam? Oh, yeah. Okay. I thought that's cool. It's going to be from, I was like, wow. From noon till 3, Hanford's going to be there signing autographs. So go out there and support them for that good cause. And if you're there, you see Rich and Jason, let them know that you heard it on our podcast. By that way, they know we're cool. Those
are good guys, man.
Yeah, they're good guys.
They're really, really good guys to hang out with. And
all right. Yeah. Any last words, Mike, since you haven't been on the podcast?
Like I said earlier, I want the best quarterback to this team to be the number one starter week 1. I don't want a scenario where it's going to be, hey, this is Shedeur Sanders. His daddy said we should start him. I don't want that. I don't want Dylan Gabriel saying I'm a Hawaiian, a rocket man. I don't want any of that. You guys go out there and prove yourselves. And make sure you're just, I want you to know that no matter what you do as a quarterback for this team, you step up and you show that you're able to do the job, you're going to win that job. Kevin Stefanski is not dumb. I'll give him that. I think he's going to choose the best guy for the job. The downfall right now as to why we have 6 quarterbacks is beyond me, but
injuries, man. The guys got some injuries right now.
We're doing something.
I don't think I'll throw it out there. I don't think they had to get a filler guy in for this preseason because of the hamstring injuries that Pickett and Gabriel are having right now. I don't think Snoop Huntley is going to be on this roster coming up this season. He won't be on it. You can take it here for that. So he's a filler.
Think about it. You have a guy that's got to go on a practice squad. You have to have a practice squad guy. Who is that going to be? With the 4 possible starters that we have now, one of them could be on a practice squad, but not picked up by waivers. Could be what Joe Flacco couldn't be picked up by waivers.
I don't see Joe Flacco.
I'm sticking to that story. I don't know if you guys were involved with it. It was with Barry Shuck and about how the Browns could potentially keep 4 quarterbacks. And my theory that I had posted on X, and the one that I'm sticking to, is the way they keep 4 quarterbacks is Kenny Pickett makes the team, Shedeur Sanders makes the team, Dylan Gabriel makes the team. The Browns tell Flacco, we're going to cut you, but we're going to swing you over to the practice squad, and we're going to make sure you get paid and don't sign with another team. And then they cut him, and then they bring him over to the practice squad.
So Joe Flacco, you're saying Joe Flacco would be like, hey, Minnesota calls and say, hey, we need a backup because we're not sure about McCarthy. We're one injury away. We're going to sign you to more money. You don't think and the reason why I think Minnesota more than Tennessee is because of logistics. I think he wants to be closer to his family, and I think Minnesota's closer. That's why he went to Indy, by the way. And that's why he loves Cleveland too.
I'm going to say real quick in Joe's defense, he been getting reps and his hamstrings are fine. These young dudes are out here not drinking enough water or moving too quick or not stretching.
No, because he's not.
So
running.
The old man's already got one up on him.
He's a statue, man.
Yeah.
He just stays in the pocket.
And there's no reason to cut anybody now because you're watching this injury situation. I guess my point 100%. Was they've done this before with other players. And in your scenario, Angel, of course, they say that to Joe.
He rolled out. He had to get out of the pocket. He rolled out and he looked fine. He didn't go.
When the
old.
I'm just playing.
The old man. So weird not talking into him.
The old man's working it.
I'm just
The old
playing. No,
man's
I agree.
working it.
Joe Flacco did look good when I was there on Thursday. I'm not gonna lie.
He is
did look
for
great.
sure
Friday.
going to look the best in the
Yeah.
scenarios that they have him in. I guess my point is, to your point, Angel, is the Browns are going to say, we're going to bring you to the practice squad. If the Vikings have called him, he's not going to like dupe them.
Sure.
He's going to say, if you guys cut me, I got to go to the Vikings. And they're going to say, we're going to try to trade you to the Vikings right now then
Yeah,
and see if
that's
we
a
can
good
get
point.
a
Good
sixth
point.
round pick for you. But this is all part of the discussion. They have done this before. They've cut
Yeah.
guys who are definitely going to make the team so they could make a 53, put 2 guys on IR, bring them from the practice squad and move them up, or however you got to do it. But like, there are ways to make this work, and they are going to keep every option open until literally a great trade offer comes in or cut day, and anyone is subject to move if they're getting the right compensation for them.
Yeah.
So
With that being said, all right, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I got my mic in front of me now, even though my mic isn't hooked up to my computer. I feel better now.
Okay.
This year is going to be an awkward year, no matter the circumstances. It's been an awkward year for the last couple of years, and that's something us as Browns fans are going to have to look forward to. Unfortunately, this year is going to be one of those years where I think us as Browns fans literally don't know what to look forward to, and that could be a big scope for us to all grind on. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things
Time to
where
start looking at the process instead of the results, because we're unlikely to have incredible results. Start looking at the young kids.
On paper, we're great. As Damon said earlier, by 2027, we're going to be the AFC champions, which is great. But in 2027, when we don't do that, what are the common denominators of this team that we could fix to make us be able to be that? And that was my biggest question to him, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's quarterback. But we have to let you guys go here. You guys, go ahead, Sam. Oh, you're saying, yeah, I need to go too. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, man, whenever y'all are ready to wrap it up, I'm already getting Chinese eyes over here.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna let you guys go and enjoy. Thanks for the follows. A lot of comments in the feed on YouTube. Appreciate the love. Keep on sharing the stuff. Until next time, like always, go Browns.
Go Browns.